All right. See y'all. Shalom, shalom, y'all. See y'all filtering in. All praises to the Lord. We're gonna give it a few more minutes, then we'll get started. All right. Hey, most like Christ bless family. All right, y'all. Couple more minutes. See if we get a couple more people in before we start. All right, couple more minutes. I don't know if y'all heard that. A couple more minutes. We're gonna start. Can y'all hear me all right? Let me know if the audio is good. All right, all praises. All right. Hey, y'all better run out there and get that Royal Priesthood album, man. Before we get started, I just throw that out there, man. That Royal Priesthood is crazy. All right, all praises. All right, 202. All right. You know what? Yeah, we can let's get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Whoever comes in, I guess they can jump in and you know what I'm saying, they're gonna see the replay or whatever they grabbed at the beginning. All right, y'all. So hey, Most High Christ bless y'all. Lord's will, y'all had a good weekend. All right. Oh, round table. Oh, yeah, of course. Come on. We done killed that, you know what I'm saying, for a month. So I ain't feel I needed to say that. Y'all already know about the round table. We're gonna have all them videos popping out. But that royal priesthood is just nuts, you know what I mean, as well. So, 1 month we put out 2 classic albums. That's a beautiful thing, you know. But yeah. So, but all praises, y'all. All praises, you know what I mean? We do the music talk another time, but y'all support the family at Original Royalty, right? So today on Giving the Sense A to Z, we doing Daniel chapter 8. All right, backing up from following up from Daniel chapter 7 a couple weeks back. All right, so Lord's will, y'all ready to take some notes? All right, and we're gonna start. All right, so we start in Daniel chapter 8 and verse 1. All right, 1 through 3. All right, in the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar. All right, so remember I told y'all before that was the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. Right, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, right? So Elam is East India, or the Persian part of that Persian territory, all right? Or the Persian Empire had, went from Iran through India and so on and so forth, right? And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. All right. So the 2 horns were high. I want to stop there for a second. Okay. And generally, when we get a precept, we usually go to a total other book to get the precept, but we're going to stay in the chapter to get the precept. All right, go to verse 20, y'all. In the same chapter, in verse 20, I'm just going to read real quick. It said, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. All right, let's go back to verse 3. All right, so that's Media and Persia. Okay, this ram is representing, and those two horns are representing Medes and the Persians, right? Which later became the Persian Mede Empire, right? So let's start from the beginning. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last, right? So you got two horns on the ram, but the second horn grew. One was growing more than the other, but the second one grew longer, right? So now let's go to uh Bel and the Dragon. All right, well, let's go to Bel and the Dragon, because when it's talking about one group longer than the other, it's talking about how the Persians became stronger than the Medes, right? So let's get that real quick. All right, Bel and the Dragon, y'all. Bel and the Dragon. Let's get that. All right. All right, Bel and the Dragon. We're gonna go with verse 1, right? And it says, and King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia was received his kingdom. So King Astyages was the head of the Medes. All right, he's the one that got supplanted when Cyrus came in. Right, Cyrus took over. Right, that's why I said Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. So Persia was that horn that went higher. Okay, so if y'all don't remember Cyrus, let's go to the book of Ezra real quick. All right, some of y'all that might not have been in there, maybe y'all don't know who Cyrus is, or you want to really refresh me. We're gonna go to the book of Ezra real quick. Let's get Cyrus, right? So y'all know who Cyrus is. The same Cyrus that we've been referencing throughout the book of Daniel. All right, so let's go verse 1. All right. Let me see where I want to take y'all. We'll read 1 and 2. It says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that's what we just read, right? In Bel, right? That the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah, right? So this came a little bit later after he first he took the Medes, then he took Babylon, right? So let's go back. All right, let us go back to the book of Daniel. All right, let's go back to Daniel, and we'll start in verse 4. Right. And I saw, and we're going to read from 4 to 8, y'all, right? We're going to read verses 4 through 8. And it says, and I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, right? So this ram was going hard, right? What does that mean? That's just what we read. That what? The Lord had gave him all the empire, right? That's what we just read in Ezra. So now it's telling you the same thing here, that what? He's pushing northward, westward, southward. He's conquering, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Right? Remember, it was called Cyrus the Great, Darius the Great. They had all these names. All right. And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat. Now we came from a ram to a he-goat. All right. So we're going from that ram and now to a he-goat. And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So it's saying now that this goat had a notable horn. All right, this is very important, between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, right? Persian Medes, right? Which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in a fury of his power. So now the vision is that this ram with the two horns is being run at by the he-goat with one horn. So that one horn of the he-goat is rushing the two-horned ram, right? And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him. That choler is talking about extreme hatred. All right. This goat had extreme hatred for this ram, right? And smote the ram and break his two horns. He broke those two horns. He broke the kingdom. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast them down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. All right, we're going to get all of that. And for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. So we're going to get all that, y'all. So now, just like before, we're going to stay right in the chapter, go to verse 21, right? And the rough goat is the king of Greece. It's called Grecia here, but it's called the king of Greece, the rough goat. That's the he goat. So what are we looking at? We're looking at Greece that came and did what? Took out the Persian Medes. This is Daniel getting the vision, knowing what's going to happen, right? Now we're going back to 8, y'all. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, meaning when he took over from the Persians and the Medes, the great horn was broken, right? Let's go get that great horn. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to finish up and then we're going to get it all at the same time. The great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven, right? So now let's go to First Maccabees, all right? Let's go to the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1. First Maccabees, chapter 1. All right. And what we're looking for in there, we're looking for the great horn was broken and the four notable ones, right? Remember, Greece just took over now. All right. So here we go. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So now we know who the notable one is. That's Alexander the Great. All right, or Alexander the Greek. That's why I said in Daniel chapter 8 that it waxed great, right? That's why he was called Alexander the Great, right? And so what? He took out the Persians and the Medes, right? So he's the great horn. Make sure to put that in y'all notes. The notable horn. Make sure to write that in y'all notes. Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So he took over everything. He knocked off all the nations and said the earth was quiet. He subdued everybody. All the dark nations, all the nation, period. This is Esau coming into power. This is what we're looking at. All right, just to make it plain. So he's now taking over. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him, meaning they had to pay him taxes just to breathe. That's basically what it was, right? Look at verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. So now that's when the great horn was broken that we read in Daniel 8. Right? That great horn was broken, right? And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Boom. So he's gone. Now, verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and he had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he yet lived. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. So remember, in Daniel chapter 8, right? It said the four notable ones, because when he died now, he gave up his kingdom to what? His friends, his four friends. You had Seleucus, okay? Again, y'all got to do, hey, y'all got to be phonetic and just write it however you need to write it. Then go look up his name and how you actually spell his name. I'm not going through that with y'all. All right. You got Ptolemy, okay? You have Cassander, all right? And you have Lysimachus. Those were his four generals. And remember, it said the four winds, meaning they took different parts of the kingdom. All right, they didn't stay with each other. When Alexander gave it to them, he said, "Yo, y'all four look over the kingdom." They split that thing up. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Let's go back to Daniel 8. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 8, y'all. All right. So we're gonna start in verse 8 where we left off. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, Greece, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Alexander the Great died, and for it came up four notable ones: Seleucus, Cassander, Lysimachus. Oh my God, Cassander. Right? Those are the four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn. Now, let's stop right there. Out of one of them came forth the little horn. That's Seleucus. He was one of the four, but he became stronger, quicker. So write that down. Seleucus is who this is in verse 9. Out of one of them, out of one of the four notable ones, came forth a little horn, which is Seleucus. All right? Y'all got that? Write that down. Which waxed exceeding great towards the south. Okay, which is Egypt. He started taking over past his area where he took originally, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. All right, and it waxed great, meaning his kingdom. We're going to read down to 11. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. All right. So now I'm going to read that again. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. So I'm gonna jump back to verse 9, y'all. Okay, and I'm gonna bring it back slow for a reason. Okay, so just pay close attention. And out of one of them came forth the little horn, Seleucus, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. Right. So when it's talking about it waxed great, it's talking about what? His kingdom. It waxed great, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground. When it says the stars to the ground, right? Y'all should know that's Israel, right? Some of the stars to the ground. It says that in Revelation, in different places where it talks about Israel being the stars, right? But was it Seleucus? But now it's going into his line. We're getting into who we're going to read that this is talking about Antiochus, Epiphanes. Okay, we're going to get there. All right, but I just wanted to show y'all how it changes. That little one that came out of Seleucus, his line was the Antiochians. Okay, and that's what it's going into here in verse 10 and 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. The daily sacrifices of who? Out of the temple of the Israelites. We're going to show you that. We're going to prove that. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. All right, so let's go. First Maccabees. We're going right back there. We're going to be in First Maccabees, y'all. Matter of fact, I forgot to tell y'all that. We're going to hang out First Maccabees for a little while. We're going to hang out in First Maccabees for a little while. Matter of fact, let me put something there so I ain't got to be jumping back and forth. So I know how to find it quick. All right. So we're in First Maccabees chapter 1, and we're going to start in verse 10. Look at this. And there came out of them a wicked root, right? So now over there it says a little horn popped up. That was Seleucus of the notable four. And then out of them did what? A wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. All right, I think I want to read verse 11 as well. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men. Remember, it said that, let me get the exact, it said that the against and a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression and cast it. Oh, no, I'm reading the wrong thing. What am I reading? No, sorry, y'all. Yea, verse 11 in Daniel. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, right? And the place of sanctuary was cast down. So we're getting ready to read that now. Check this out. In those days, we're back in First Maccabees chapter 1 and 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen." So they want to make a covenant with Greece and Antiochus and his crew that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? So it's saying since we departed from them, so now the Israelites, these wicked dudes, they wanted to get with them and become part of it. But let's go back to Daniel real quick. Let's go back to Daniel. All right, and y'all hold Maccabees because we're going right back. All right, we're going back to Daniel chapter 8 and verse 12. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Let's read that again. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice, right? We're just reading about that. By reason of transgression of sin, and it cast down the truth to the ground, cast down what? All the laws and everything to the ground. We're going to read about that. Let's go back. First Maccabees, and we're going to start in verse 12, I believe. Yes. No, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Yep. Let's read it. Let's start in I'm gonna start in 11 again just to get the thought. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen." that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. All right. What was the device? The so-called covenant. The so-called we are the world, like how we are in America. Oh, we the same. Let's just be assimilate. Called it a device, right? 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen. Y'all hear that? So they went and they built a place of exercise, which is known as a gymnasium. When you look at the original meaning of gymnasium, it means naked exercising. You're supposed to be in there naked. That's why when we go to the gym, everybody says, "Oh my God, look what she's wearing." You know what I mean? Oh, why she gotta wear it like that? How come she can't do this? No, that's the spirit of the word and the place. It has a spirit to it. Everything got a spirit. Remember before we talked about fire got a spirit, right? Remember the scriptures say about what the law is a spirit, right? In Romans was it 7 and 12, right? Am I Romans 7? When it talks about that what? The law is spiritual, right? That's what it is. So the laws are spiritual. Everything has a spirit to it. So that gymnasium, as it was set up by the damn Edomites, it had a spirit on it. That's why today when we're in the gym, you see everybody basically wearing nothing or revealing. All right. So this is what the Israelites got into. All right. Verse 14. Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised. Y'all see that? They made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and was sold to do mischief, right? So when it says they made themselves uncircumcised, right? That's heavy because clearly that's spiritually, right? They uncircumcised themselves. They no longer kept the law, right? But then there was a physical part to it as well. All right. Let me see where I want to go. Okay. Hey, jump down to 41, y'all. All right. Jump down to 41. They what? They made themselves uncircumcised. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his law. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Y'all heard that? They calling politics and all his laws, they calling that a religion because it is. Okay. So here we go. And sacrificed unto idols and profane the Sabbath. And that's what, oh man. Real quick, y'all, real quick. When you look back in Daniel chapter 8, when it says in verse 12, and a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of no, is that what I want? No, 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of no, that's not what I want. I thought it said something about a sacrifice for him. Yes, it is 12. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. All right. So it's going into the sacrifice. But now they sacrifice into his idols. They ain't sacrificing to the Lord. Right? By tribute. It was pure sin. It was madness. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's go back to First Maccabees. I know I might have thrown y'all off with that, but it just kind of caught me right there. All right. So First Maccabees chapter 1, we at 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and the festival days, right? So they should no longer keep them, right? And pollute the sanctuary and the holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. All right. So this is how it started. All right. You just had them now that you couldn't get a circumcision. So now that what they're becoming uncircumcised, not only in the flesh, but spiritually. Okay. So that's what that's talking about. But let's read on. And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. But basically, the point is that what? We couldn't keep the commandments no more. We had to walk away from being a Jew, right? Professing ourselves at all to be a Jew, right? That's what they say also in Second Maccabees, all right? So let's go back to the book of Daniel. All right, going back to Daniel, all right, chapter 8, and we starting in verse 13. We're going to read 13 and 14. It said, then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? All right. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Right. So now Daniel is what? He's being given the prophecy of what? The dedication, the rededication of the temple, what we know as the Feast of Dedication. Okay. This is the prophecy. Because up until at this moment, there was no such thing as the Feast of Dedication. That never existed until we get ready to read it right now. All right. So let's go to First Maccabees chapter 4. All right. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 4. We'll pick it up in 29, y'all. All right. First Maccabees chapter 4 and 29. We're going to read down to 41, then we're going to jump. We're going to do a little reading. You know what I'm saying? This is good for us, right? Make sure y'all take these notes. All right. So they came into Idumea and pitched their tents at Bethsura, and Judas met with him 10,000 men. And when he saw that mighty army, he prayed and said, blessed art thou, O Savior of Israel, who didst quail the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David, and gave us the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer. Shut up this army in the hand of thy people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. All right. So he was putting up that prayer. All right. He put up that prayer so the Lord could be with them in this battle. Cast them down with the sword of them that love thee, and let all those that know thy name praise thee with thanksgiving. So they joined battle, and there was slain of the host of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now, when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judas's soldiers, y'all are reading that, the manliness of Judas's soldiers, let you know what the Most High is about. He liked to see manhood. All right. That don't mean you got to be fighting all the time, but he likes seeing real men. All right. And how they were ready either to live or die valiantly. He went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Judea. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary, right? So now this is what they were saying. Hey, our enemies is gone. Let's go clean the sanctuary up, because they've been damn sacrificing pig on there, all manner of wicked meat, and all type of chicanery was going up in there, debauchery. They having sex all up in the temple. Madness. All right, y'all, complete madness. Upon this, all of the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profane, and the gates burnt up, and shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation, and cast ashes upon their head, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried towards heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So with some people still hanging out over there. He said, yo, kill them. So they went to war while they was handling their business, man. You got to love it. All right. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law. Right. So now let's jump. Let's jump down to 52, y'all. All right. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month of Caslu, in the 140th and 8th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon a new altar of burnt offerings which they made. Look at what time and what day the heathen hath profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, right? Just like we keep the feast 8 days. This is where we getting it from, right? And offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. Okay, so that's why when you look in the book of John, chapter 10, Christ was keeping it based on this. All right, so all praises to the Lord. All right, so let's go back to Daniel chapter 8. All right, we're going back to Daniel chapter 8, y'all, verse 15. Okay, we're going to read 15 and 16, right? And it came to pass, when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Right? So now you had what? The angel Gabriel. He showed up to do what? Tell Daniel the vision. Don't feel bad, y'all. We all got to learn. When Daniel got the vision, he didn't even know what the hell was going on. Daniel ain't know what was going on. Same thing with us. We reading this. We saying, what the hell did he go ram? Four notable ones. What? He didn't know either. So the Lord sent what? The Lord sent Gabriel. All right. The same Gabriel who in Luke chapter, let's go there. Go to Luke 1 real quick. Go to Luke 1. Hold on. Do I want Luke 1? I think so. Let's start up. Yeah, let's start up. Let's start up. Let's start up. Luke 1, and let's start in verse. We'll just get right to it. 19. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and I am sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings. All right. That's Gabriel. That's what he do. He said with the Lord, like go down there and talk to him and tell him X, Y, and Z. That's what Gabriel doing right here. Same thing he did with Zacharias, the same thing he did with Daniel. All right, so let's go back to Daniel. I just want to show y'all that it's the same Gabriel, what he does. Who is this Gabriel that's standing in front of this man right now? Daniel. All right. All right. So let's get all right. So we're gonna start in 17, verse 17, y'all. All right, Daniel 8 and 17. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now, why would he fall down in front of Gabriel like that? It said he was afraid. First, he said it was looking like a man, but then he said he became afraid. All right, let me show y'all something real quick. Go to Judges. Go to Judges 13. Let me throw this in there for y'all, just so y'all know. Because y'all might have the idea of, cute little angels, with little white butts out and red cheeks and shit. I don't know what y'all thinking about, you know what I mean? But when we see the angels being described, we never seen nothing like that before being described, the way them artists' renditions. We never seen that. But when you look at Judges 13 and 3, we're going to read 3 through 6. Watch this. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. Okay. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God. All right, from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God, very terrible. Y'all see that? Very terrible. If this was some sweet looking, why would she say it was very terrible? Because it's not nothing. The angels are nothing to play with. Okay, the angels are nothing to play with. So let's go back. I just want to give y'all that. You know what I'm saying, just for reference sake. All right. Let's read that again. 17, Daniel 8 and 17. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man. And he's calling him the son of man. You understand? So just in case any Christians is in the line, Daniel's being called the son of man. Ezekiel got called the son of man. I want to say Isaiah too. A lot of the prophets got called the son of man, and the same thing with Christ, because he was born of a man on the planet Earth. Okay, he had a biological father. I mean, that's all it is to it. I know I keep throwing that in there all the time, but we need to twist this into our minds. All right, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Okay, where I'm reading down to, y'all. We're gonna read the 22. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. So my man passed out. He said he was knocked out. And he was like, yo, get your ass up. Got him up. So I'm trying to sleep on this information. But he touched me and set me aright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Right? So this is what we already went over, but we needed that to show. You understand? So now the angel's describing to him, or explaining to him, the vision or the dream, right? And the rough goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, which is Alexander. When you read what we just read, First Maccabees 1, I think they say it again in like chapter 6, that Alexander was the first ruler of Greece. Okay, the first king over Greece. All right, so that, and you find that all in your history books, right? Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, right? Being broken was Alexander, the four was his generals, right? Four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power, right? Now, when it says not in his power, okay, it says not in his power because those guys was having wars against each other. Okay, I saw something where they had like they had them bridged off like first war, second war, third war. They called it some other thing in the fourth war. They had like 5 wars. I don't know if that's completely accurate that they just had 5 wars, but they have that listed, right? Saying that that was the wars that was fought between his generals against each other to take over and have, you know what I'm saying, total domination, right? But now let's go back to First Maccabees. Let me show y'all something. Show y'all something, right? It said not according to his power, meaning what? Not the way that he was doing it, but they had something else going. They were fighting each other, right? So let us get First Maccabees 1, and we're going to start at 16. Watch this, y'all. All right, First Maccabees 1:16. It says, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt that he might have dominion of 2 realms, right? So remember, he's coming out of the line of Seleucus. I believe that they had like Syria and then the Persia, something, I believe it was Syria, Persia. So now he wanted to go to where Ptolemy was at, okay, in Egypt. So it said he sought to have 2 realms, right? So that's why over in verse 21, it says, but not in his power, right? Because it wasn't the same way Alexander was just ruling the whole thing. These guys broke it up and started fighting each other for world domination, right? So now I'm back in 16, right? To have dominion of 2 realms, verse 17. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots, with elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled. So Ptolemy was out. Matter of fact, the line of Ptolemy is who Cleopatra came out of. All right. So I know there's been a lot of arguments. Y'all arguing, oh, Cleopatra is that, black woman, and they trying to reappropriate. Cleopatra was an Edomite. Okay. Her father was a Greek. Okay. Her mom probably was African, but she was definitely an Edomite, okay, by bloodline. Her look or whatever, she's light skinned, black, or kind of brown or whatever, that ain't got nothing to do with it. She's an Edomite, just so y'all to know. All right. So that's Ptolemy. He was king over Egypt. All right. This is so now y'all know, if y'all didn't know, that the Greeks had went down into Egypt and had ran Egypt, had formed and became the head over Egypt. That don't mean all the black people was gone. It just mean they was running it. All right. Remember, they took over the whole world, known world at that time. All right. I'm starting back at 16, y'all. Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt that he might have dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots, elephants, horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Okay, we're going to read down to 20. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 140th and third year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. All right, so let's go back to Daniel. All right, Daniel chapter 8, and we're going to go in verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance. Now, when it says when the transgressors are come to the full, because remember in First Maccabees in 1, okay, I'm sorry, let's go right back. And I'm doing this just in case for some of y'all that might be new and y'all didn't know the scripture. For the ones who know it, then y'all straight. But for the ones who didn't know it, this might be your first time. This is why it says the transgressors. It's already calling them the transgressors. It said when it came to the full. All right. So First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. Many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right. So these people brought massive evil to the planet. This is Esau. Okay. That's why I'm saying what it's saying in Daniel. All right. Evils were multiplied in the earth. Right. So let's go right back to Daniel. Okay. And it says, I'm starting at 23 again, y'all. y'all. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. That's Antiochus. Okay, we already knew that from reading before, but now the angels is explaining it to Daniel. Okay, so hold on, I just want to make sure we ain't going. Okay, we're going down to 25. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, right? Because he had a whole, remember, he had a whole army. Remember, his line was starting from Seleucus. So remember, we just read that they put crowns on their heads and their sons after them many years. So this is building up. This is he got a lot of people with him. All right, he got a real empire. And shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Right, and we saw how that destruction was. We read it due to the fact that what they destroyed the temple. They started to have us not keep Sabbaths. We couldn't keep the high holy days. You understand what I'm saying? All that was going on. So that's how our people were destroyed. Okay. Verse 25. And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Right? That's all his policy. Remember the ordinances of his laws. And he shall magnify himself in his mind, in his heart. Right? And by peace shall destroy many. Right? Because what? He's creating peace treaties with other nations. Remember, it ain't just, remember, it said he went, smashed out Egypt and Ptolemy, put Ptolemy to flight. Then he went to the Israelites. He was touching everybody, right? And by peace shall destroy many, because a lot of times it wasn't even by war, right? He would come and just be like, oh yeah, we can make a treaty or whatever, and then just take over. All right. And then what? Have them doing exactly what he wants them to do. Same thing like in America. We have all these different cultures, but we all doing what Esau said to do. Okay. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand, right? So what? He's standing up to what? God's people. He's standing up to the Lord. That's what it's really saying. Because when you breaking and keeping us from keeping the commandments and all that, you going against God. And what does it say here? And shall be broken without hand. That's what I want. Let's go to First Maccabees 6, y'all. First Maccabees 6. Let's take a look real quick. Said that he's gonna be broken without hand. All right. First Maccabees 6, 1 through 3, real quick. All right. About that time, King Antiochus, traveling through the high countries, heard say that Elymais in the country of Persia was a city greatly renowned for riches, silver, and gold, and that there was in it a very rich temple, wherein were coverings of gold and breastplates and shields, which Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians, had left there, right? So now he's hearing in Persia, they got all these treasures. So he's like, you know what, we're gonna go over there and handle that, right? Wherefore he came and sought to take the city and to spoil it, but he was not able, because they of the city having had warning thereof, right? So they knew he was coming, so they was ready for him. All right. Now from there, let's jump to Second Maccabees chapter 9. Okay, Second Maccabees chapter 9. And yeah, we're gonna do a little reading, y'all. A little bit of reading. Okay, we're gonna read 1 through 15, but this is good. All right, make sure y'all keep these notes. So it's the same thing was being said over there. It's being said here, a little more detail. All right. About that time came Antiochus with dishonor out of the country of Persia, right? Because he tried to sack it, he tried to take it over, but it didn't work, right? They was ready for him. For he had entered the city called Persepolis and went about to rob the temple and to hold the city. Whereupon the multitude, running to defend themselves with their weapons, put them to flight. And so it happened that Antiochus, being put to flight of the inhabitants, returned with shame. So he went back home. He was mad as hell, right? Now, when he came to Ecbatana, news was brought him that had happened unto Nicanor and Timotheus, right? So Nicanor and them got toe up, right? So then, swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Jews the disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee. Therefore commanded he his chariot man to drive without ceasing and to dispatch the journey, the judgment of God now following him, right? For he had spoken proudly in this sort that he would come to Jerusalem and make it a common burying place of the Jews. So he was so pissed that he said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Jerusalem and I'm burying all these Jews. He mad. He mad because of what happened in Persia. So you know what? He taking it out on Israel. All right. But it said what? That what the judgment of God is now following him, right? He's not knowing that, right? Verse 5. But the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, smote him with an incurable and invisible plague. For as soon as he had spoken these words, a pain of the bowels that was remediless came upon him, and sore torments of the inner parts, right? Because remember, it said in Daniel that what? He was taken down without hands. He was broken without hands, meaning he didn't die in a war. Right. So we finding out what's going to happen to him right here. And that most justly, for he had tormented other men's bowels with many and strange torments. Howbeit he nothing at all ceased from his bragging, but still was filled with pride, breathing out fire in his rage against the Jews, and commanding to haste the journey. But it came to pass that he fell down from his chariot, carried violently, so that having a sore fall, all the members of his body were much pain. So now he fell, right? Now he fell off the damn horse and all that, right? So everything's happening to him. And thus he that a little afore thought he might command the waves of the sea, so proud was he beyond the condition of man, and waved the high mountains in a balance, was now cast on the ground and carried in an horse litter, showing forth unto all the manifest power of God, right? So, he couldn't walk. Now he's being carried. All right. So the man who thought what? That he was going to command the waves, tell the water where to go. This is how proud this dude was. This is how proud this guy was. All right. Verse 9. So that the worms rose up out of the body of this wicked man. And whilst he lived in sorrow and pain, his flesh fell away, and the filthiness of his smell was noisome to all his army. You see that? That's crazy. All right. The man had worms coming up out of him while he was alive. Okay, the Lord had him dead and alive at the same time. Okay, because he was running his mouth and going against the people of the book, going against us, the Israelites. The Lord had to take care of him ASAP. All right. And the man that thought a little afore he could reach to the stars of heaven, no man could endure to carry for his intolerable stink. Right. So his flesh was stinking so much that even his army was like, damn, we can't even carry this cat nowhere. Like, this is ridiculous. He was literally dead, but breathing. Here, therefore, being plagued, he began to leave off his great pride and to come to the knowledge of himself by the scourge of God, his pain increasing every moment. And when he himself could not abide his own smell, he said these words, "It is meet to be subject unto God." See, now you want to repent. That's what we read in Hebrews, right? That Esau sought it carefully with tears, but there was no repentance found for him. This is what we're looking at right here. And that a man that is mortal should not proudly think of himself as if he were God. This wicked person vowed also unto the Lord, who now no more would have mercy upon him, saying thus, that the holy city, and let's stop there for a second. Because somebody might see that and think, wait a minute, who now no more would have mercy upon him? This don't mean the kingdom. What this is talking about is that the Lord, remember y'all, the Lord gives to, look at Esau. Esau got a lot. The Lord allowed him to have all these things, right? And when a lot of these nations were doing good against the Israelites, the Lord would have mercy on them at certain points. You understand? So that's why it's saying here, he's not going to have mercy, meaning the mercy of what the mercy of what the Lord put on him. The Lord ain't taking it away. That's really what it's saying. That's what this is saying. I don't want y'all getting caught up like, oh, he's on his deathbed, like the Christians. He's on the deathbed. Oh, you know what? I did all this wickedness. Lord, forgive me. And now I'm gonna go see Christ after they killed 3 million people. No. This wicked person, verse 13, vowed also unto the Lord, who now no more would have mercy upon him, saying thus, that the holy city to which he was given in haste to lay it even with the ground and to make it common burying place, he would set at liberty. So all that he was talking before about, I'm about to make it a burying ground for the Jew. He said, I'm going to liberate them. I'm going to make them free. I ain't going to hold them down no more. Now the Lord is tormenting them. Now he giving it up, right? And as touching the Jews, whom he had judged not worthy so much as to be buried, but to be cast out with their children to be devoured of the fowls and wild beasts, he would make them all equals to the citizens of Athens, right? So now he's saying, y'all are now equal citizens. He in his mind, he's believing that this is going to come off of him because he's now recognizing they got to be a God. Ain't no question. And the holy temple, which before he had spoiled, he would garnish with goodly gifts and restore all the holy vessels with many more. And out of his own revenue, defray the charges belonging to the sacrifice. So not only would he replace, but it was coming out of his own pocket. He was like, I'm gonna spend the money. And go, no. We're gonna spend. We're gonna set up their temple. Come on, bro. Right? Hold on. Right. Look at 17. Yea, and that also he will become a Jew himself. You can't make it up, family. Y'all see this? That he would now become a Jew himself and go through all the world that was inhabited and declare the power of God. Yo, your man was like, listen, Lord, if I get another opportunity, I'm going to run around and say that you're the real God and so on and so forth. Boy. But for all this, his pains would not cease, for the just judgment of God was come upon him. Therefore, despairing of his health, he wrote unto the Jews the letter underwritten containing the form of supplication after this manner. All right. So that's it. We're going to leave that right there. So basically, he ain't coming up out of that. He got put to death. Okay. So now let's go back to Daniel chapter 8. All right. I'm going to start in 25 again. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. We read all that, how braggadocious he was and how proud, right? And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And we just read all that, right? Verse 26. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. He's saying, hey, this ain't gonna happen for a long time. All right. So shut it up. Shut up that vision. You know what we just told you. You're gonna go, and obviously Daniel wrote it, right? And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. All right. So that's that for Daniel chapter 8, y'all. All right. Lord's will. Y'all got something out of that. I hope y'all took good notes. All right. In a couple weeks, Lord will, God spare life. We'll be back again to do Daniel chapter 9. All right. So, all right, enjoy. Hope y'all have a great Sabbath coming up. All right. This was Given the Sense A to Z, Daniel chapter 8. And with that, say shalom, most high Christ bless y'all. All right.